Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin and
David Wynn.
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in every market. Today, guys and gals, Dave, you know what, brother? You brought this one on. Who do we have today?
We have the beautiful Leslie Lopez from Renton Realty. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for showing up. We are super excited to have you here. So, Leslie, you do a lot of podcasts, right? Like this is every week?
All the time.
Yeah.
So much experience, you have no idea. It's a piece of cake.
I had to give you a little trouble because I know the nerves were hitting in the green room,
Yes.
but no, we're going to have some fun here today.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
But Leslie, are you a Dallas native?
Actually, no.
Okay.
No, I've only been in the Dallas area for about 18 years now. I guess it's been a little
You
while.
know, I'm similar, 24 years for myself. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I was actually born in Chihuahua, Mexico.
Very cool.
Yes, and
Very
then
cool.
I came to the U.S. when I was 7 years old. My parents
Okay.
and my two brothers, but we moved to New Mexico at
Oh,
the time,
okay.
southeastern
Yeah.
New Mexico. That's pretty much where I grew up. We were there same. I guess that's our time. It's 18 years because it was about 18 years that we were there before we moved. We moved here to the DFW area.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, New Mexico, that's actually a really great state too. I've spent some time out there. You know, it's beautiful and maybe not your traditional beauty, right? You know,
No, it's not. It's
yeah.
very, very desert-like.
It
But
is.
It was honestly a great place to grow up.
I bet.
Really, really a great place to grow up. I went to school there, went to college there, did my university there.
Right.
And then it was after that looking for opportunities, we were drawn to Texas. And first
That's it.
my family moved to Lubbock because my
Okay.
brothers went to school there. And then the move I actually followed my older brother. He's the one that came to the Dallas area
That's
first.
awesome.
And then here I came,
And
then
here
my
you are.
family followed because we're all here now. We're
Yeah.
all here now, so
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. So you brought you all came up from Mexico.
Yes.
Went to New Mexico.
Yes.
Old Mexico to
Yes.
New Mexico,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden your brother says, "Hey, let's go to Dallas
Yes.
and or Lubbock,
Yes.
Lubbock," and then you all came along.
And then we came out.
It's a family affair.
DFW.
I
Yes.
love it. That's
Yes.
awesome. And go back to New Mexico real quick.
Yes.
One other thing I love about New Mexico and Santa Fe, you guys have your own cuisine there too, right?
Oh yes, yeah. Actually, the food there is really good.
It is.
I would say
not Tex-Mex.
those no, you get those hatch chilies, and
Yes.
somebody like myself that loves spices.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah, hot food. You get some good food out there.
We could
definitely.
talk about that all day long, but that's a different podcast.
That's a different story. Yes, absolutely.
I love it. So into Lubbock, Texas, and then you just started real estate.
No, actually, no, not at all. I started real estate 5 years ago now.
Okay.
At the end of 2019. But previous to that, actually, my entire career from after graduating
Right.
from school, it was in recruitment.
Oh, wow.
I was a
Okay.
college recruiter. Yes, I was
That's
a college
awesome.
recruiter. That was not the plan. I majored in psychology. But psychology actually applies to just about every job that
I
you can do.
completely agree with you.
I use it till this day. But I started my career in recruitment for this university, or the college that I graduated from.
That's awesome.
And I did that for many years. That's actually when I moved to the DFW
Okay.
area. I started working for UTA. I worked for UTA for a year
Oh,
for the
wow,
School
that's
of
awesome.
Social Work. And then from there, I interviewed with a pediatric home health care company that specialized in PTOT and speech
Okay.
for kids all throughout the DFW area. And I started there in HR and recruitment. So I really worked in helping, college graduates start their careers with
Yeah.
this company who had great mentorship. And I did that for, 8-9 years
Right.
for a while. And then I took a break. I stopped working there when I had my first child.
Well, and you said it right. You said helping, right?
Yes.
I think that might be in your nature, right, is to help people. Because one thing we know about real estate is there's a lot of helping in this industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like a lot of the professionals that transition over here, they're caring, nurturing people.
Yes.
And, with your background
Right.
and what you've been doing in healthcare and recruitment,
Yeah.
That's it. But you mentioned you had a baby.
Yes.
Yeah?
A 9-year-old baby now. But yes, when I got married and my husband and I had a little boy, and it was at that time that we had both talked, that whenever we had our child, in a very traditional way, both of our agreement was that I wanted to be home more. I wanted to be there to raise my child. So I took a break. I helped my husband, run his business as I stayed home. A second baby came. I have 2 boys, a 9 and a 6-year-old. And then
Watch
it
out.
was, yes. So it was when my youngest boy was 1 year old that I've always had a passion for real estate. So that does go back. That does go back to my parents. From the moment that we came to the U.S., that was a big thing. Like, my parents were a big influence to me, and they continue to be until this day.
Awesome.
And they always showed us that, if we left our country to come to a new country, that it was going to be for growth, and it was going to be to try to better ourselves in one way or another. And they purchased their home, like, within a year of being here. Like, that was huge. That was a huge achievement, coming from
absolutely.
Mexico and
absolutely.
being able to invest in their first property right away.
That's
and that
great.
to me was amazing. They bought a couple of other properties as time progressed.
Some
So that was
investments.
always something. I was something that they always instilled in us, and I've had a love for real estate for a really long time. So whenever it was time that we talked, and I had my little boy, and I said, you know what, this is a time. This
the
is a time
sign.
for me to
This
be able
is
to
it.
get back and do something that I really, really enjoy. So I went back, got my license,
That's amazing.
passed my test, and
here you are.
Here I am.
And we are so
Yes.
glad that you did make that decision, because wow, the things that you're doing out there right now, helping people, and a lot of them. So,
Thank you.
but I think we'll date that back real quick. We'll just say, sounds like your parents might have been your first mentor.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, they continue to be. they continue
Yeah.
to be. I'm always going to be learning from them, and I'll always be their baby, so they'll always have something to say and share with us. So even when we sometimes feel like we don't need it, we need it.
Say it to mom and dad real quick.
Yeah.
Tell them how you feel
Well,
about
I'm going to tell them in Spanish. if
Do
that's
it. Let's
okay,
hear
'cause
it. I
that's what
love
we
it.
do.
I love it.
Digo, mamá y papá, muchísimas gracias por todo lo que me han enseñado hasta este día. Todo lo que tengo, se lo tengo que contribuir a ustedes. He aprendido muchísimas cosas y han sido una gran influencia en mi vida. Y yo sé que no estaría en el lugar donde estoy y con la familia que tengo si no fuera por ustedes. Así que hoy y siempre estaré tremendamente agradecida. Gracias.
Feeling the love.
I do
Yeah.
too, and I don't.
I feel it.
Emotional here.
I feel
I
it.
have to get emotional.
It's okay. That's what it's all about, is
Yeah.
passion, right? It's
Yeah.
passion, and
Yeah.
you're passionate about your love for your family, and you should.
Right.
They've built you to become the person that you are today, right? And that's pretty special, because you're pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So, no,
you.
I love that. And I'm glad that you were able to give them that moment, because you know what? They need to hear that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
They need to hear that stuff too. That's
Definitely.
great. So, you come over to this side of the business,
Yes.
and you jump into real estate, and just hit it out of the park day number one.
You know what? It was amazing because I decided to start, and I was so excited. It was the end of October of 2019.
Okay.
And then here comes 2020, and here I am going to just kick it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
And then COVID.
Yep.
So I'm just like,
Yep.
you
Sure
know,
did.
yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't have, this successful business already
Right.
established to just keep going, because I know a lot
Right.
of my other realtors were so successful during that time, and that
Yeah.
was so exciting.
Well, they had
to
a sphere,
hear.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they had a sphere.
And I quite wasn't there yet,
Yeah.
But things happen for a reason. I'm still very thankful for that year, because even though it wasn't, I think I still managed. To me, it was huge, because I think I still managed to do like 6 transactions
Yeah,
that
yeah.
year. I was so proud of them. I was so proud of them.
You should be, because at a time when everybody's home and a lot of people were scared,
Yes.
and you're still finding folks out there that are
Yeah.
interested in buying, even though you didn't have that sphere,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was great too. So what I did learn, and what I did use to my advantage that year, is because we were home a lot,
Yeah.
was reaching out to people, reaching
Yeah.
out to my sphere.
Using that
And
recruiting
now-
background.
Yes, just a little bit, I guess so. And reaching out or letting people know that I was now into this new career,
Yeah.
and letting them know and getting them pre-approved and leading them the way what we needed to do in order
That's
to
right.
be able to move forward. So it was all of that work.
Yep.
We all know, I guess, in this industry that you have to plant your seed today in order
Yep.
to see it grow later, right? So that helped me. I planted my seeds in 2020, and then
You
my
did.
business really boomed
Just
in
flourished.
2021.
Just
Yeah,
flourished.
so I really saw the
Well,
difference.
and let's take that back, because you just dropped some wisdom out there, and effectively what you said was, I reached out to the people in my sphere,
Yeah.
and I let them know what I do.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Now let's talk about that, because we're all victims of this. And in fact, David and I, we actually just recently kind of had a wake-up call. We do the podcast all the time, but we forget to tell people we do loans. And last week we actually shot a video about that. But our mentor, Carl White with the Mortgage Marketing Animals, he always likes to talk about the fact that, do we know who Apple is? I think we all know who Apple
Yeah,
is, right?
absolutely, yeah.
So, theoretically speaking, we know what they sell, right? We all
Right.
know what they sell. They still advertise.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So if Apple is telling the world what they provide on a daily, weekly, monthly, hourly basis, and we're in the real estate market, we probably need to tell the people that we know what we do, right?
Yes, because if you think about it, you have to start planning not just generations, but like people right now might know what you do, but like other
That's right.
the ones that are to follow, the ones that are growing up, you want them to still continue to know that too.
100%.
So, and with me, it was I've been in recruitment for so long,
That's right.
and I've met many people, whether it was my university that I worked for before, whether it was a therapy company
Right.
that I worked at before, whether it's a church that I go to, like everything, the sports that I play, the gym that I go to. So people know me in different aspects of my life, but it was important for me for them to also know, like, this is my new career. This
100%.
is where I am here, and I put myself to you. If it's just to answer a question, it's not
right.
always thinking, like, come buy a house for me right
come
away.
give me your money.
No, like, I've even had, like, I help people with refinance. I don't get anything out of somebody refinancing.
But you do because
it's a satisfaction.
Yeah, you do because you're helping people, and that's who
Yes,
you are. You want to
absolutely.
help people,
Yeah.
and you do an amazing job at it. And at the end of the day, I found that the people in this industry that truly have success, like yourself, there's something selfless about it, right?
True.
There's something selfless about it because, sure, we have monetary value at the end, but we help a lot of people.
Yeah.
We give a lot of advice for free. Every single day. And we don't do it because we expect a monetary return. We do it because we're passionate about what we do and we want to help people.
Right.
And what I found is that typically turns into success.
Yes.
Because when you're helping people and they think about, hey, I need to buy a home, they're going to think about you. Or when their family member or friend says, hey, I'm interested in doing something, they're calling you.
Right.
Because you were there for them when you didn't even have to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to address something real quick here. You said that you were a recruiter, and when you first got into the business, you made a lot of phone calls. Well, I also know as a recruiter, you make a lot of phone calls, 50 to 100 calls a day. So that tells me you're not scared of the phone. I bring this up because we just had another high-powered realtor on the phone.
Who's 3 years in?
Who's 3 years in.
Yeah.
And she said her first 3 months, she made 150 calls a day. So people think of real estate as this glamorous, I'm just going to show houses. I'm just going to do this.
Put myself on a billboard.
I'm going to put my
Throw myself
billboard
on
in the
social
business,
media.
and the business is going
Yeah.
to come. But now, this is the second time that a high-level realtor has said the bulk of their business is phone work. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. How much of it? I mean, I can only imagine how much contacts you make on a daily basis to do the amount of numbers that you do.
I do. I used obviously different methods. So it's obviously the phone or even just text. Sometimes it's a more passive
Communication,
way.
yeah.
It's just establish some sort of communication, whether it's email, whether it's text, whether it's a phone call, whether it's social media,
all of it.
or share. Yes, which is the truth. It's really a little bit of everything.
It's a little bit of everything.
I reach different people. Like there's people from I'll share this because this to me was one of the biggest compliments that I could have received, and it really made me feel good about myself. And it was a client. She, now they're my former client that we still stay in touch with, but this was somebody that I met when I was doing recruitment.
Right.
And they found out that I was, because I share it on social
Because you
media.
introduced it to
Yes.
your sphere.
So exactly. They knew me in the recruitment world, and whenever they reached out to me, they're
Right.
like, Leslie, we're considering buying a home, and we're, considering you as our realtor. And
Absolutely.
I said, I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me do everything that I can to help. But one of the comments that this specific lady made to me, and she says, I told my fiance my husband who didn't know me, right?
Yeah.
She knew me, he didn't. And she said, if she's as good a realtor as she was a recruiter, we have got to work with her. And I thought, wow, like you really thought highly of me. Like I appreciate that because I think in every work or in anything that I've ever done, as my parents have said, like give it 100%.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've done that, and here it is. Like I hadn't seen her in over 10 years.
That's right.
And to decide to work with me because we worked together, and
That's
she thought
right.
highly of me of the job that I did then. I thought, wow, okay, I'm doing something right. I'm doing
That's
something.
awesome.
You're doing
And
a
it
lot
really
of
made
things
me feel-
right.
it made me really feel good.
But it's trust. It's trust is what you're talking
Yes.
about, and trust is built in small cap promises,
Mm-hmm.
right? So at the end of the day, during that recruiting period, there was levels of trust that were built throughout that relationship. And let's talk about that because two of the biggest expenses, we always talk about the first biggest expense was his purchasing a home. Second one is education, right? And when you're recruiting somebody, you're talking about, number one, they're trusting you
Yes.
that you're leading them to the right opportunity
Yes.
to educate them so that they can have their future successes.
Yes.
So there's a reason why your name stood out, because during that process, you build her trust, you led her to the right education facility. She's probably had successes since as a result of that, and that's because of you. and that's because of the things that you do. And I know I tapped the table, but no, seriously, that's absolutely amazing. And I know why Dave brought it up, because again, a lot of people want to think that it's just a simple job here with what you do in the real estate world, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of that's phone communication, and a lot of that's talking to people that never, ever, ever intend to purchase a home from you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're going to put in that work because this is who you are, and it's the service you provide, and you're building trust with people every time that you pick up that phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And honestly, I guess adding to that is when I do talk to somebody on the phone per se, somebody that already knows me is a little different, because we have some sort of level of relationship or trust, and hopefully trust, and that's the reason we're talking. But whenever I have a new referral through somebody in my sphere, like a cousin and aunt, a sister, brother, daughter, and they reach out to me, and we can only do so much on the phone. To me, it's always really important, as much as possible, is once I get them on the phone, is let's go meet up. Let me just show you a house, and just to kind of get a feel. And it's not really so much for the property or even for the coffee, if we're going to go drink a coffee, is because I want to have you in front of me. Because my success rate, once you meet me, like I haven't had anybody tell me no. So it's like, I want to get you in front of me, because to me, it's like you can really establish that relation. Like, look at me in the eyes, and I'm being honest, I'm being true, I'm being, I authentic. And to me, like that's the biggest thing that I can do.
Well, you're bursting with life, right? You've got a great big personality, and people, it's infectious, right? They want to spend time with you. So when you get that face-to-face time with them, and they walk away, they feel good about themselves, and they feel good about working with you. And it's funny, because you actually are talking about one of our secrets to our success. As you know, we always do a pre-podcast call.
Yes.
Why do we do that? Because we want to build that relationship with you up front and make sure that you're somebody that we want to work with, and that you want to be on the show too, right? We want to make sure this is going to be great for everybody. And I think Dave and I like to toot our own horn sometimes, and we know we're pretty fun to hang out with too. So.
You really are, actually. You really are. Yeah, I got to know you in that pre-call. I'm like, okay, this is really going to be fun.
Yeah, we like to have fun with this thing. So let's roll back here a little bit. So we know you're with Rendon now.
Yes.
But is that where you got your start?
No, I actually. Right from whenever I finished got my license, I was actually with a company called JP and Associate Realtors.
Okay.
And I had a really good experience. I had a really good experience, because when I started there, they assigned me a mentor, which I also feel like I will always be appreciative and thankful to him, because he was great. He taught me a lot. He really let me live and actually act out and do a lot of like hands-on contracts and showings, and to me, like that's the best way to learn from me. I've always like, if I'm getting to do it, even if it's not my deal, but me getting to do it, that's the best experience that I can get. A book can only take you so far, but once you're actually out there doing it, to me, it just made a whole lot of a difference. And I know not everybody gets that opportunity, and the fact that he was my mentor, I will always be appreciative of it. They were great.
I have a great deal of respect for that too, because we have a very similar program here with the Dubuque team, and when we bring on new up-and-coming loan officers, they have mentors. In fact, Dave mentors several loan officers.
I do.
And as a result of that, he's helping them build success, right? And that's really what it's all about. And then, of course, you may not know this about me. I have a team. I don't produce, so I mentor the folks on my team, and I think that's a really great way to help people become the best versions of themselves by utilizing the experiences and expertise that you have to help bring people up. So it's great that you got that experience, because not very many people that come into this industry say, when I first started in real estate, I had a great mentor. You just don't hear it often. But you know which ones do say it? The successful ones.
And that's another thing I guess I could add to that, is that now that I've switched to Rendon Realty, it's a smaller brokerage. I love them. They're family owned, very family concept. I love that. They're always accessible. But now I'm having the opportunity to mentor myself. So now which I love, because it's a combination of my experience in the past and what I've done, but also a new experience to me, and be able to share and hopefully provide some of the same knowledge and experience that I was provided when I started in this industry. To me, it's just so awesome and exciting to know that I'm able to potentially help, and I've just started that, so hopefully I'm looking forward to being able to share more of that later, as soon as I start getting some in.
Yeah, that goes back to her giving heart, though, right? You want to help people. So, Dave, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. So Leslie, 5 years into the business now, you've kind of carved yourself a very niche market in real estate, I know, but I want the people to know, 80 to 90% of your business is bilingual.
Yes.
And that's, you have an endless, your production's amazing. So let's talk about that with your little niche market.
Yes.
What made you choose that? Why that demographic? Why do you cater?
I'll be honest with you. I almost feel like it chose me. So it's not only that that's who I was catering to, but I feel like that's who was typically drawn to me. And once again, it does go back to my sphere. I am very involved, and like I was telling you before, whether it was a gym I went to, whether it was my church, whether it was the jobs that I've had in the past, I've always been really close to people, with a background similar to myself. I'm from Mexico, but I obviously work with people from like Central America and different places, but they're Spanish speaking. And one thing that I told you before, even for my parents, they knew that coming here, like they wanted to right away, like get a secure home over our head.
Absolutely.
And I know that that's something that we share as in culturally, Hispanic people are just so hardworking, and I like their goal is typically that. Like one of the you consider yourself established and successful once you have a home.
That's
so
right.
like you work every day and you work these long hours, and the wife, the husband, they work so long,
Doing
but
what
it's
it
all
takes.
doing whatever it takes to save so much money to be able to do the biggest purchase they can in life, and it's that
amazing.
home.
That's
so
amazing.
to me, I value that, I respect that, I lived that. So to me, it's easy to put myself in their
Absolutely.
position and be able to do that. So in working with people, Hispanic people specifically, I think it's really important to earn their trust.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit it myself, I'm also not very trusting. So it's the same thing. So I know where they're coming from. They're not just going to look at me and be like, hey, sure, represent me. Let's go
Right.
buy a house. You have to build that relationship.
Absolutely.
And you have to, and I tell them even from the beginning, I said, I understand, and you don't have to trust me right away, but I want us to be able to work through that because I
That's
want to
awesome.
show you that I'm on your side. I'm not here working for anybody else but you.
Yeah.
And what you tell me, it stays between us. So this is very important in being able to build that relationship, and that's important to that community.
I just want to add to that. So my team, we're nationwide, but 25% of my applications that come in on a weekly, daily, monthly basis is Spanish. And I can tell you the trust factor in that, is amazing.
And Dave's fluent.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my team, I'm not fluent, but I have the wonderful Jasmine Moreno that is fluent.
I wanted her to get her plug.
So at the end of the day, whenever you're talking about the largest purchase of your life, if English is your second language, you automatically gravitate to your first language because you want to understand. You want to be able to understand what you're signing, everything that you're doing. And with that being said, back to the trust factor. Once you build that trust and once you get it, it's endless. I'll just go.
Well, because that's where the results come from, right?
I'll just go into. We did a loan for a mother, and by the time we ended up the loan, we got 8 more loans because she sent her 2 sisters, her son, and 3 other, and it was because she already vetted us out.
Yep.
It was just take care of them.
Yes.
There
You
was
can
no
trust.
questions asked
There's a trust
because
factor.
the trust factor was already built, which you don't get that.
We're trusting, but also very loyal.
Yes.
So it's like you do us right.
We're
with
coming
you,
back.
We're coming back, and everybody that we know is coming back.
Yeah, that. I wanted to address
There's
that.
your secret.
Yes, that's my secret.
There's your secret. But we talk about this too, is, most of the documentation that's out there for real estate is only in English, right?
Yes.
And, we know there's some programming out there for the loan side. They're working on translating the documents all, having the ability to be bilingual, right? Which is great. We love it. We need to make them multilingual, but we are working on that, and we will see application systems come out this year that are Spanish intake application system, which is awesome and very well needed. But I think that's the same side on the real estate side, right? A lot of that documentation is in English, and then to understand the translation from English to Spanish, that takes a special person that can read those financial documents and understand those terms and relate it back. That's part of where that trust comes from,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, and I take that. I do not take that lightly. I tell them, to me, it's something very important. Like we've lived it. I bought my home myself. Once again, I go back to my family. But going through that and knowing that you're in a lot of part, I know they're relying 100%.
Yeah, what
on
am I
me.
signing? I can't read this.
Signing?
Yeah.
And to me, I don't take that lightly. That's very important. Like I would never advise somebody incorrectly to sign something life away, and they don't know what they're signing, and they don't understand the consequences. And I feel like that's something we can all definitely improve on, to be honest. But I do take that to heart because whenever I talk to my clients, I like to elaborate and mention. And I tell them things 20 times, and I said, it's okay. It's not your job to memorize this. It's my job, but I will make sure that you know what you're signing. And I
That's
make
right.
sure that you know if there's any consequences, if there's any risks, if there anything that could put anything that you're doing in danger, I will make sure you are aware of that. Because to me,
Yeah.
it is something
It's
huge.
important.
And I love and I appreciate and I value the fact that they're trusting me with that.
Yeah. Well,
It's not something you just take lightly.
I think it's very important, even though I do not speak Spanish, because Jasmine does. I've realized that, we're in Texas, there's a lot of Spanglish. What we call that is just because you can communicate doesn't mean that you speak the language.
Well, we have a melting pot of
Immigrants.
immigrants that have come here from not just Mexico, but
Right.
from Central America, as you
Yeah.
mentioned
Right.
in the pre-podcast. And as a result of that, you've got a lot of different dialects.
Yes.
So it is Spanglish, right?
Yeah, it is.
Spanglish.
And so what I've learned is that sometimes unless you can speak, write, spell
Yeah.
the language, some of the words don't translate, especially mortgage terminologies into Spanish. If you're
Well,
trying to,
let's put it out there to the American viewer, right?
Yeah.
Who's grown up writing and reading and learning to speak English, right?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about having you make your biggest purchase,
Yep.
right, of your life, and it's all documentation's in Arabic. How's that feel?
Yeah.
That's pretty uncomfortable.
It is. And
That's pretty
it's
uncomfortable.
scary in a way,
Yeah,
honestly. It's a
it
little
is.
scary.
It is. And I don't think most people think about it like that, but when you take a step back, that's how the majority of the Spanish community does look at it, is how do I trust these documents? I don't know exactly what they say, and they need somebody like you to guide them through that process and help them have a clear understanding, and that's what you do. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. So the secret weapons, right? That's what we're pulling out here today.
Yes, absolutely.
So, awesome. So, let's go back through that. We know you're having tremendous success, but we always love to ask this question. I think we may have already answered it, but what's your real estate superpower?
Well, I think honestly to me is one of them, I would say, and I don't know if it's considered a superpower or not, but I would say is I feel like I have this way of being able to read people. So it's one, that's why it's being able to meet somebody in person is really important, because I feel like I could, my house speaks Spanish, but we don't necessarily come from the same background. We don't, we weren't grown up the same way. We
Right.
weren't raised the same way. We all might have different beliefs, but to me, being able to, see that person that's in front of me, understand where they're coming from,
Right.
see what they want, what's important to them, what's valuable to them, and being able to use that then and translate it into finding like the right match or the right, what it is that would be their ideal situation.
That's right.
And also not understanding that, with it sometimes comes a lot of pressure because, our work
100%.
really is, there's no guarantee. You could work a lot, and then it might not, end up in anything. And
Absolutely.
and understanding that's okay, but never putting somebody in a situation where like, oh no, I've been working now you're buying something, I wrote 15 offers, you're getting something.
Yeah.
Never, of course
Yeah.
not, because I would never want to be put in that situation myself. So being able to meet somebody and being able to really read and see what it is that they're looking for, what's important,
That's
and
right.
finding them, that is just, to me, it's amazing. It's worth,
No, it is.
Every blood, sweat, and tears that we put into it, because it is, it's not easy work. It's hard work. But
Well, it's not easy work,
I love
and,
it.
and I think a lot of people don't realize this, but I would say probably 60-70% of what we do on the loan side and on the real estate side is pro bono.
Yes.
We're not getting paid for it.
No.
I don't think a lot of people realize that. This is a commission industry. So at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time getting people qualified, spending money for credit reports on our end. You do things on your end that cost money, right? Marketing materials, things of that nature. There's all kinds of stuff out there that we do to prepare for these things, and a lot of that's never reimbursed, right?
No, right.
So I think that kind of transitions me over to this whole NAR situation that's coming up, right?
Right.
And why should the buy-side agent, be compensated? And, there's no question about why the buy-side agent should be compensated. The amount of work that goes into helping somebody with that transaction, leading them to the right home, right? Helping them have the comfort to know what they're doing and signing is acceptable, making sure the properties are actually great properties for them to purchase in good condition.
Right.
Those are the values that realtors bring, and that's just a short list. I could literally sit here and spend an hour just talking about all the value benefits that the realtors bring to the table. There's no reason for us to even be having this discussion. It's on the table, unfortunately, but the reality of the situation is the buy-side agent should be compensated, right, in this industry.
I do use this example a lot, because it's like, do you really want to go, if you ever called into court, do you want to show up without a lawyer? You don't want to do that. You want to have representation.
That's
you want
right.
somebody that's going to look out for your best interest.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing when you're going to buy a property. Like, you want someone that's looking in for your best interest,
Yes.
if the seller has their agent, your buyer has their agent, you want someone that's loyal to you, and they're going to look out that you're going to get the best deal, the best home for the best price, and all everything is covered. They're dotting their I's and they're crossing their T's, and you want that to be there for you. You want to have that person that's standing by your side, and I think that's extremely important.
Last time I looked, the paperwork you signed to purchase a home isn't one document.
No.
No. There's hundreds of pages of documents that go into this thing, and if you're not getting the proper support to understand what you're signing, which goes back to what we were talking about with the language barrier, right? You may be putting yourself in a position where you've signed away to something that's not in your best interest. And once you walk away from that transaction and it funds, that's your situation.
It's crazy that you mentioned that, because unfortunately there's also situations when, and it seems to be a lot of people from, my Hispanic community that this has happened to, and I've been exposed to it as well. And it's very unfortunate where they do go through a process without representation and they end up, taking advantage of. And that's the reality. And
that goes back to that trust factor, right? That's where there's where the lost trust starts, right? And then where the trusting begins is once they talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. I would hope that's the case.
Absolutely. Well, we know it again, and we go back to, we've seen what your sphere looks like. You do a lot of business, and you've got a lot of people out there that look at you as the expert in the industry, and they should, because you're guiding people, with confidence, and you're helping lead them into their homes with amazing support. So thank you.
Well, no, thank you.
No. Thank you.
You're making me sound great.
You are great. What are you talking about? You are great. That's what we were on. I told you before, you got to take your humble hat in here, because we are going to talk about how amazing you are, and you just got to take it. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So one segment we always like to talk about, and we kind of started off with it, but we talked about your parents and your family. What about your own family? What's home life look like when you're not out there helping people with homes?
I mean, that's my whole life. So I told you I have 2 boys, and I have an amazing husband.
That's right.
And I'm actually a homeschool mom. So both of my
boys.
I know. That was never really the plan. Things happen for a reason. But
Can you homeschool a couple more? I would love to take my kids out of public school.
Darian, we got an option over here.
Well, we do have, so we've been homeschooling them both, the 9th grade and 9-year-old and my 6-year-old. And it's, so obviously even then, my husband and I really have to be on the same page.
Absolutely,
so
there's none about
we
that.
We have to be partners in this, and that's good. I have a great partner. He's amazing. He's amazing dad. He's amazing provider. For the years that he was a sole provider, and then now that I'm in this industry, we really work together, not just in raising our boys, but being available, so flexible. Because I do the majority of my work. A lot of it is on the phone and on the computer and writing offers and all of that. And I do that all from my home while I'm there with my boys. But then there's times whenever it's me coming out to do showings, me coming out to do a networking event, or coming to do a podcast, and somebody
Dad's
needs
got to
be
swoop
there
in
with the boys, and he swoops in and he's there. He's there with them as well.
Well, he'll probably watch this. What would you say to him if you were here?
Okay, well, we also talk to each other.
Do it. Let's go. Let's do it.
He's both, but okay. Wedding chief, that's what we call ourselves, but lo quiero mucho, aprecio mucho todo lo que hace por nosotros, por nuestros niños y por mi familia, y siempre estaré agradecida. Usted sabe cuánto lo quiero y cuánto valoro todo su apoyo, y no podríamos haber llegado a donde estamos ahorita y lo que nos falta por lograr, primeramente Dios, si no nos hubiéramos encontrado el uno al otro. Así que estoy muy agradecida, lo quiero mucho, quiero muchísimo a mis 2 niños, que siempre nos apoyan y nos echan porras, y espero todo lo que podamos lograr más con la ayuda de Dios, primeramente. Lo quiero mucho.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I love for you to be able to share that moment too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He's here with us. He just didn't know it. He didn't know it.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, he has no idea until he sees it.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. I want it to be a complete surprise,
Okay.
right? So let's let that pop up then. So that's awesome. And again, it just shows your level of success, because you're not just taking that heart that you have to help others out there. You're taking care of your family. You're helping your boys become successful. and you're there with them every step of the way. And, they're going to look back years from now and go, wow, look what mom did for us. Look what dad did for us, man. So, and I'll bet with the investment side of the industry, you're probably going to help them get themselves set up with some real estate investments early on so they can find generational wealth behind the wealth that you're creating as well.
Which is part of our plan. That's part of our plan. And even with the little ones right now, like they know I'm about to walk out the door and they say, Mom, are you going to go do a show? And I said, yes. Like, go get a contract.
Yes.
And I was like, thank you. Like, go help them find their home. And I'm like, oh, it's so sweet.
Guys, you heard them. You better make that phone call ring because the boys said, Mama's getting contracts today, so let's make it happen.
The older one, Ayrton, my little boy, he's gone with me to, when we do a couple of walkthroughs or a couple of showings, and he just to see, what it is that go to work with mom.
What's
day.
Mom do?
Yes, or when I'm home.
I hear you at the house.
Yes, and he hears me one day. It was really funny. I have to share this story. It was really funny because obviously I do a lot of calls and stuff at home, and then one day we were talking, and he said, so what's going on, Mom? What do you have to do today? Are you did the house appraised? And I thought, what do you mean? He's like, oh, what? Did they already do the inspection? Have you written the contract?
Let me get his number
when's
real
the
quick.
when's the option period? And I'm like, kid, where did you get all this information
He's going to
from?
be a killer. From you, Mom.
Yeah, you
awesome.
don't realize that, but like I said, I've always said this, like little kids are just little sponges, and they're taking in everything they're doing, good or bad. So it's always important to be, a good example. And that's one thing that I do take to heart is in helping my families. Like, I want to do something that they're going to be proud of me for.
I love this.
I will only
That's
do things
awesome.
that I know that I would want them to do the same. And I take that to heart with every single deal, client, person that I meet, that, I have to be the best version of myself because I'm reading two little mini-me's that I know are going to watch. And I want them to be proud of their mom, but I also want them to feel like, oh, you know what, they can do the same, and I'm going to be so proud of them because I know it's an example.
I already see a TikTok video with your kid in the background acting out a scene with the bar. That's your new social platform. That's your new social platform. I love it. That's going to get way more views than us.
That's true.
That's so much fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Man, wow, I feel like I know your family having you here. So that's awesome. Well, Dave, anything you want to ask before we get to the end of this thing?
No. We always ask a question. So 5 years in the business in real estate. What's the one transaction or the one moment that you're most proud of, or the reason why you're in real estate that you said? I know there's several, but I want one. So.
Okay. I'm going to give you your one and add one more.
Okay.
Yes.
I have two. I have two, and they're important to me for different reasons.
Okay.
One of them is a close friend of mine who were in the market for buying a home, and this is when I had just decided to go back to school to get my real estate license. Like we had this conversation, and then she said, "Oh, okay, you're going to get your license," and I said, "Yes, that's my plan. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do it." She's like, "Okay, well, we're going to wait."
Oh, wow.
Like, we're going to wait. We're not going to look. We're going to wait until you get your license. And I'm like, here I am going to be.
No pressure.
Whenever that happens, here I'm going to be a brand new agent, yet I have someone who is already confiding in me and waiting to do this big purchase until I come, to the market. And sure enough, as soon as I did that, they were my first client. We ended up, we looked at different homes. We ended up buying land. They ended up buying land so that they could build your home.
I love that.
They're close friends that later became our compadres. Compadres, we baptized their little girl. So, we're linked forever.
I love that.
And we have, they're to me a special place because they believed in me before anybody else even believed. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't even in the industry and they were already thinking of me.
It's that trust you build.
Yeah. And the next ones were my first deal ever. Just because you'll never forget the first one that you did on your own. And it was crazy because I was showing homes to this family, to my friend, when I ran into this other family.
Randomly,
they were here from El Paso. They were looking at a listing.
What a coincidence.
Right, I know, right? They were just in town from El Paso, which was random. And they were at a property trying to access, it was an open door property, so they could go there on their own. They could get on the lock hood. Well, they weren't able to open the door. I had just left the listing. I closed the door, and they walked up, and they couldn't get in.
Yeah.
And sure enough,
Double showing.
I had to. I know. I was like, can I help you? They're like, well, we were trying to look at the property. And I said, okay. And of course, they asked the question, are you working with anybody? No, we're actually here just for the day. We're from El Paso. We're looking to relocate. He was military.
You just tripped over
and I just thought, what? I'm like, really? Does this happen? So
this is so easy.
I know. It's like, this is how it's all going to be from now on. No. So anyway, I did. I let them. I went ahead and did a showing with them. They got to see it. No pressure. And I told them, if you ever need help or anything, let me know.
Absolutely.
That evening, they called me and they said,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
What? Can you do some showings tomorrow?
Yeah.
I am not kidding you. They were in there for just the weekend. That was a Saturday. On Sunday, I showed them about 15 properties. No joke. 15 properties back to back that Sunday. So I was working all night to get this all scheduled. They were going to think about it and had to go home.
Yep.
They came back the following weekend. We did a total of another 30 showings the following
Marathon.
weekend. We got a contract in. I was a new agent, but yet I always felt like I'm new. They're not going to pay because of my inexperience.
Yeah.
I negotiated the price. I got them contributions to their closing costs. They got approved for a military, veteran loan.
Absolutely.
VA.
Yep.
And they're in their house.
And thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your service, and thank you for obviously once again trusting in me.
Yeah.
And to me, that those two will always be, because they were my first. So I love
amazing.
every one of them, but they were my first, and I
Well, it was a
just can't get past
transition
that.
into, to a family friend too,
Yes.
right? Somebody, your
Yeah.
compadres, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now I
so-
maintain, and I'm in touch with everybody because, that's just what you do.
It's
And to me,
amazing.
it's like we start maybe as a client and realtor, but we do end up as friends. And I like to stay in touch with, all of my past clients at one
It's
point
awesome.
or another because, I just need to be there. Anything that they need, whether it's questions that are not related to real estate or related to real estate, I'm their person. to
Yes,
go to,
you
and
are,
I want to be their first
and
call.
for good reason. For good reason, and we need more people to reach out here too. Because if you can't tell, she's something kind of awesome, right? So
Well, you know what I heard from that? There's no such thing as coincidence.
No.
I believe that
fate.
we all have a path, and God puts things in your path, and I can tell you now, you're exactly where you need to be in real estate. I can hear the love, the passion, and everything else,
Absolutely.
and this is where you're meant to be.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. We're honored to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I
No,
really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
This is
the
great.
audience needs to hear more stories like this, because you've just got such a great story and you're such an amazing person. And just like I said, that personality just comes out when you speak. The passion's there. We love spending time with you. So this has been
Thank
an
you
honor. One thing you did mention, and I'll say this before we asked my last question. You mentioned your friends had purchased land, and I just want to put this out there to homeowners that might be looking for a property that doesn't exist. A lot of people out there don't realize that there's an opportunity to build your own home without having to spend a lot of out-of-pocket money. There's programs out there, one-time closed loans that let you finance the land, build the property, the dream home that you want, and a lot of these properties are zero money out of pocket. In fact, there's programs out there that actually let you roll up to 6 months of payments into the transaction while the home is being built. So if you are out there and you just have never been able to find the home that you want, it just doesn't exist, those programs exist, and I just want to make sure that people know that they're out there.
Hey, Devin, can I throw something out there?
You can.
We do that.
Okay, little self-promotion. We do, we do.
We do a lot of special things, but in-house.
Conventional FHA, VA, and USDA.
Construction loans
we've got a solution.
we have a proprietary construction loan that we cater. We specialize in that.
Yeah. We help build people's true dream homes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
And not everybody
and
does
you
that,
connect
which
them
is
to the
amazing.
dream. So
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Well, we'd love to have you here all day, but I know we're running a little short on time.
Yeah.
So is there anything we should have asked you today that we did not?
Honestly, I think we covered just about everything. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to you guys. I'm also thankful to all of the clients that I have, or, people that I know, or that whether I've worked with you directly or you referred me, or you think that I might be a person that you would want somebody that to work with. I'm just appreciative for that, and we don't all have that, so I'm thankful.
She means it. I feel it. I feel the energy. If you were in the room, you'd feel the energy. She means that. She means that.
Yeah.
Well, when those people out there want to find you, and 100%, we know they do, right? Dallas-Fort Worth, mainly?
Yes, Dallas-Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort
All
Worth
over,
area.
I'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how do they get in front of you? What's the best way to contact
Obviously, you can find me on social media and everything, but my best friend is my phone. He's with me all of the time, so you can call me or text me. I'm usually pretty available. To be honest, my phone number is 806 445-3751. I have a panhandle phone number, so it's not a 1-800-806-445-3751. And then you can also find me on social media as well.
Awesome. Do you want to give that social media real quick?
Yeah, it's
We'll put it in the lower thirds.
So
Yeah.
it's Leslie Lopez _realtor, and that's how you can find me both on Facebook and on Instagram.
Hey, Leslie, how would we roll that back in Spanish, please?
Ok, para todas las personas que tengan interés en comprar casa o simplemente un consejo para cómo empezar el proceso, porque yo entiendo que no siempre se está listo desde un principio, pero para cualquier persona que quiera hacer las preguntas, ¿cómo empiezo? ¿Qué necesito? ¿Cuáles son los métodos? ¿Con quién tengo que hablar? Por favor, con toda la confianza me pueden llamar. Mi número de teléfono es el 806-445-3751. También tengo acceso al Facebook o al Instagram, Leslie Lopez _realtor. Me pueden encontrar en social media. Pero por favor, con mi teléfono, un texto, una llamada, estoy a sus órdenes en todo momento. Muchísimas gracias.
Leslie Lopez, ladies and gentlemen. Leslie Lopez, man, wow, great stuff, great stuff. Really enjoyed having you here today. Enjoyed the energy. It's been a great time for us. So, Dave, should we do it?
Yeah.
All right, we're your real estate success partners. I'm Devin Dubuque.
I'm David Wynn.
And if you want to check us out, come on over to realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. But if you want to check out the video version, and I think you should, come on over to YouTube. We're going to be found at the Dubuque team. Again, that's the Dubuque team. And please comment. If you want to jump on the show, you can actually do that from our website. And we absolutely appreciate those 5-star reviews. So until the next time, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.